Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode of the Positive Head Podcast. So happy and grateful and appreciative and all the things to be here with you guys. It's a dream come true to be able to connect with you all. As always, I appreciate you all for tuning in and hope your magical Monday is off to a good start. Of course, well, that's when I'm recording this. It's Monday morning. So yeah, mine is off to a stellar start. And let's dive right in. I have some fun stuff to chat about, some intriguing, mysterious, all the magical things. I saw Doctor Strange last night. If you guys haven't seen Doctor Strange in 3D, I recommend it. It was really cool to see superheroes that are getting more and more spirit-centered, spiritually minded. Really, I always believe there's crossovers with movies and what's going on in society, and obviously, everything's a reflection, right? And it's really cool to see a Marvel character, and it's all about, this guy who's very materialistic and ego-centered and arrogant and all the things, and then he meets someone who is tapping into magic, understands spirit and all those things. I mean, they don't go into a lot of detail about spirituality, more of bending the laws of physics and things like that, but very, very cool, and I highly recommend it. So, yeah, that was fun. So, feeling particularly magical this morning after seeing that. Let's see. Where should I start? Well, I did get a lovely review on iTunes I woke up to this morning, and this is by, let's see, Starfish2112 says, worth listening to. Even though I can't pretend to understand or even believe some of the things that Brandon and his guests discuss on this podcast, you can't help but like him and his sincerity for helping others gain insight and happiness. You don't have to buy into everything to enjoy his positive message, and on every podcast, he or his guest says something that resonates with me and offers either comfort or wisdom. Give it an honest listen and tell me that you don't feel a little more hopeful at the end of it. Oh, I like this review so much. It's so sincere itself, right? This person is saying, hey, I don't necessarily subscribe to everything that's being said or understand everything that's being said, but I'm open and I'm getting something positive and it feels good. And obviously they're feeling the heartfelt, sincere intention that is coming from me to just make the world a little bit of a better place, hoping to touch your lives. And Starfish, you have touched my life. You have completed the circle of love by leaving a review. And of course, you're now helping me to reach new listeners, because the more reviews you get on iTunes, the more sort of they serve you up in their charts and so forth like that, and recommend you to other people. So for those of you who have been listening and haven't taken the time, I would really appreciate it if you would give a review on iTunes. So this is an interesting, somewhat synchronistical review today, because I'm going to talk about some mysterious news, well, it's actually something that I talked about a while back. If you go back to the end of June, it looks like we first covered this story, Dalian and I, talking about a talk that Elon Musk gave where he was taking questions from the audience and basically came to the conclusion that we are very likely living in a simulation. So actually, I'll play that clip here in a moment because I don't believe we played it the last time. But, what prompted me to sort of go back to this story is there is a new development that I found here from simplecapacity.com, and it says, physicists leak evidence that approve Elon Musk's theory that universe is a computer simulation. So basically what this goes on to say is, here, I'll just read some of it. A long proposed thought experiment put forward by both philosophers and popular culture points out that any civilization of sufficient size and intelligence would eventually create a simulation universe if such a thing were possible. And since there would therefore be many more simulations within simulations within simulations than real universes, it is therefore more likely than not that our world is artificial. Now, a team of researchers at the University of Bonn in Germany, led by Silas Bean, say they have evidence this may be true. In a paper named Constraints on the Universe as a Numerical Simulation, they point out that current simulations of the universe, which do exist, but which are extremely weak and small, naturally put limits on physical laws. What that basically means, and here's the kind of the quote from the paper. The problem with all simulations is that the laws of physics, which appear continuous, have to be superimposed onto a discrete three-dimensional lattice which advances in steps of time. So let's interpret that. What that basically means is that by just being a simulation, the computer would put limits on, for instance, the energy that particles can have within the program. These limits would be experienced by those living within the sim. And it turns out something which looks just like these limits do in fact exist. For instance, something known as the Grayson-Zatsepin-Kuzmin, or GZK cutoff, is an apparent boundary of the energy that cosmic ray particles can have. This is caused by interaction with cosmic background radiation. But Bean and Company's paper argues that the pattern of this rule mirrors what you might expect from a computer simulation. Naturally, at this point, the science becomes pretty tricky to wade through, and we'd advise you to read the paper to get the full details. But the basic impression is an intriguing one. Like a prisoner in a pitch black cell, we may never be able to see the walls of our prison, but through physics, we may be able to reach out and touch them. So, yeah, what it's saying is essentially, you would have the computer simulation itself would put limits on how much energy particles can have within the program, and we see something similar to that in cosmic rays, where there's a cutoff, a boundary. So I went to a conference many years ago, and I can't remember who it was. I wish I could. And this guy, his whole topic of conversation was how we're living in a simulation and how all these things reflect that. And this is going back like probably 5 years ago at least. And he's saying, look, when you zoom in on matter, it pixelates like a video game. Like there's laws that someone has programmed in like a video game. And he just went on to give all these different points. So it's really interesting to consider. Now let's take a quick listen to Elon Musk talking about this. This was at Code Conference 2016. Take a listen.
There's a sort of a philosophic concept that a sufficiently advanced civilization will be able to create a simulation. Yeah. Maybe you've answered this before? A simulation.
I've had so many simulation discussions, it's crazy.
Okay. So, because...
In fact, it got to the point where basically every conversation was the AI/simulation conversation. And my brother and I finally agreed that we would ban such conversations if we were ever in a hot tub. Okay. That was like... because that really kills the magic. Hot
tub, so the idea is right. Any sufficiently advanced civilization could create a simulation that's like our existence, and so the theory follows that maybe we're in the simulation. Have you thought about this? And
a lot.
Are we?
Even in hot tubs?
To know.
So much so it had to be banned from a hot tub.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not the sexiest conversation.
Are we in?
I think here's, in my mind, like the strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following. That 40 years ago, we had Pong, like 2 rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, we'll have augmented reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. Just indistinguishable. Even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is right now, then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale. So given that we're clearly on a trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set-top box or on a PC or whatever, and there would probably be, billions of such, computers or set-top boxes, it would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
So
tell me what's wrong with that argument.
Is the answer yes?
The argument is probably. But I just like, is there a flaw in that argument?
I mean, someone.
I'm not sure what the error.
No. The argument makes sense. So the assumption then is that somebody beat us to it, and this is a game.
No. There's a 1 in billions chance that this is base reality.
Oh, okay. What do you think?
Well, I think it's 1 in billions.
Okay.
I mean, that seems to be like clearly what it suggests.
Right.
And actually, I mean, arguably, we should hope that that's true, because otherwise, if civilization stops advancing, then that may be due to some calamitous event that erases civilization. So maybe we should be hopeful that this is a simulation, because otherwise...
Because they could reboot it.
Well, otherwise, either we're going to create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will cease to exist. Those are the 2 options.
So yeah, there's a little bit more on this topic, and it's a fascinating one, and kind of like I said, somewhat synchronistic. When you look at Starfish's review, it's like, hey, I don't necessarily agree with all the things. Some of it's pretty out there from their perspective, perhaps, but is it any stranger than the fact that the brightest minds on our planet are suggesting we live in a simulation? Now, when you look around you right now, everything you're seeing is light. It's light projections. What are you seeing when you're looking at a video game? It's light projections. It's all these things match up. Now, for some people, that might make you feel uncomfortable, right? For me, it does not. And here's why. Who is the simulator? Who is the person behind the simulation? What is behind the simulation? Makes me think of Nassim Haramein standing. He tells the story in my interview with him. Highly recommend checking him out, by the way. Cutting edge, physicist. Incredible mind. He stands up in he talks about standing up. He's with all these scientists, some of the smartest scientists in the world at this convention or conference, and he stands up and points to a picture in one of the most famous textbooks showing how the universe works, and it shows a diagram of a guy blowing up a balloon, and then with quarters pasted on it, and as it expands outwards, the quarters being like galaxies are separating outwards. It's kind of showing a diagram of what the universe looks like, and he points and says, I see this picture, I understand it, we've all seen it, it's a famous book, but my question is, who's this guy? And he points to the one blowing up the balloon, right? So who's this guy? And who's the one, if we're in a simulation, who's the guy creating the simulation, or the girl, or the entity, or the intelligence, right? That's probably a better way to put it. The consciousness. And I would say the consciousness is you. You are the creator and created rolled into one. And when you start seeing science, the brightest minds on the planet, sort of reflecting back some of these concepts that perfectly match up with the same wisdom that people are tapping into through whether out-of-body experiences, meditation, using, psychoactive substances or plant medicines like DMT or ayahuasca, where they're going, or iboga, and they're going to these other dimensions of reality and seeing that they're the ones behind it all. We're one. It's all one, right? So it's not something to really fear. It's once again kind of ties into the Doctor Strange movie last night. He's so caught in the physical reality, and it's like there's so much more going on behind the curtain, and you're the one behind the curtain. You're the consciousness behind the curtain. You're one with that consciousness. And when you start to understand that and really own the fact that much like in that movie, he's manifesting reality. He's creating things with belief, right? That's essentially what you're doing here on a smaller scale. That, when you look at some of the masters, the most famous, right? Jesus, what was he known for? Turning water to wine, making all these loaves of bread appear, fish, for countless people. What is he doing there? He's doing exactly what you're seeing in Doctor Strange, creating reality, learning how to tap into source, a sorcerer, fully removing all blockages and manifesting things physically. There's all kinds of accounts of this sort of thing. So when you start to really understand this is indeed a simulation, but you're the programmer behind it. You're one with the programmer, the consciousness that pervades all things, pervades all simulations, right? If there's countless simulations, the same consciousness is at its root, source, God, higher self, whatever you want to call it. So you're the game programmer and gamer all at once. And when you understand that, when you start to see proof, this is a great topic of conversation based off Starfish's comment, which I love. I always say healthy skepticism is a beautiful thing. But when you start looking at a lot of these things from a science and spirituality, you're doing a dance right now that is incredible. It's just, melting and merging like never before. How many sages, how many spiritual seekers have had experiences going beyond the veil and coming back with this exact same information? This is the difference I see between different organized religions and people who have had spiritual experience, not just, sort of studying it or subscribing to something. There's no difference. It's like there's always the same story. It's all one. It's all love. And I'm tapped into it. I'm an inextricable fractal of this divine cosmic consciousness. And it is so empowering. It is so, you can relax. It's like you're here to play. It's a game. Have fun with it. Quit taking yourself so seriously. You cannot lose this game. You can only pretend to lose. You can't really lose. You can only have an experience of losing. Or you can wake up within the game and have the experience of transcending it all and learning how to really, control your reality. And it's what we're all here doing, I would say. And those of you tapping into this broadcast, you're learning to control your reality. You're waking up in the game. You're waking up in the simulation, it's sort of like a stage. It's like a level, right? We're leveling up as we wake up in the simulation. Oh, wow. Okay. This is a whole different way to play it, right? Your ancestors played it completely asleep. That's a way to play it as well. It all serves the whole. It's all a part of it all, right? So, yeah. What a wonderful, wonderful way to start a magical Monday. And to get your Monday going just a little bit further down the rabbit hole, I would like to complete more of a perspective of oneness. How about that? By reading Your Illustrated Guide to Becoming One with the Universe by Yumi Sakagawa. I've been reading this here and there over the last few weeks. And this is the final lesson. The lesson is number 9, called Oneness. You are the universe. How appropriate. At the atomic level, we are mostly emptiness and space and sparks of energy. We exist because of all the other living creatures that came before us. There are no separate waves in this ocean of energy. Right this moment, take a deep breath. Start with your toes and fingers, work your way inward until there are no boundaries between you and everything else. Feel yourself become one with the grass and the birds and the rocks and the air and the people around you. Once you have erased the outlines of your being, erase the outlines of everything else that exists in the universe. To see the underlying energy that unites all of us. Your assignment from the universe? Create a new space-time continuum of transcendence that will bring peace and joy to all sentient beings in the universe. I love how it ends. Transcend, create your own universe is what the book is saying. What a beautiful ending to not only the book, but this podcast. It's been truly a magical Monday. Go out and create magic wherever you are. And I do have some music to help you along that journey. This is Alex Cruz. This song is All I Knew, featuring Jasmine Thompson. Very feel-good jam. Hope you enjoy the rest of your magical Monday. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
I know something now I didn't before. And all I've seen since 18 hours ago was green eyes, freckles in your smile in the back of my mind, making me feel like something now I didn't before. And all I've seen since 18 hours ago was green eyes, freckles in your smile in the back of my mind, making me feel like